Oh, okay, I don't need this one. There we go. All right. Hey, James P. Welcome. Uh, guess it ain't on. Welcome, James, to this afternoon edition, which is called the Big Eagle Hour, which gives love to whose land this was, Big Eagle, or the Europeans called him Black Dog, but it seems like the family called him Big Eagle. So we'll give that energy out today. Oh, I be hating to put this shit in the microphone. Or in the micro. This shit be burning like a motherfucker. But coffee. And to show I only eat with silver, either silver plate or the real silver. This is silver. But check out my plate. Check that out. This is China. Yeah, this is real China, which doesn't mean shit anymore. Just like silver don't mean shit to most people anymore. Still mad. What's up? Still mad at what? Hmm. Why is it didn't come here? Still mad at final game 4. All right. Why is it? Oh, slower, I guess. Crazy Sarge, what's happening? Thank you for joining. Okay, it's a okay. It's a little slower. Huh. Didn't know that one. So, just thought I'd come on. Oh my goodness, I love hearing Super Sly. Super Sly, he talks the best shit. Like he really does. He talks the best shit. Now I really wasn't sure who he's talking about, maybe, but he talks the best shit. I mean, I hate to be on his bad side. So Super Sly, if I ever do anything to offend you, please call me. I'll send you $20 to make it all right, or even 100, whatever it would take. But because he just roasts people, like he roasts people to the bone, like he fillets them. He like puts them on the stake, burns them, and after he burns them, he fillets them while they charred. So, bro, before you do that to me, just give me a call. I'll try to make it right. I would say the coach made me a lot better. I've seen I'm a little behind. Both are a little behind. So well, guess it just whenever it comes over. I've never seen and it made me a better okay. Okay. That's good. I mean, if that's positive, it's cut off here and it's a delay. The way it comes over and it's cut off on this screen. Let's see. Yeah, that's what it is. That's cool. That's what it is. Oh, over here. I didn't really need that. I can go with the old. Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I can go with that. Can't really read it. But hello, Crazy Sarge. I hope all is well. Talk to my brother. Things are really going good for him in Michigan. And I don't know if y'all can really tell, but like I don't have the ups lights on. I do have one of my color lights on because it's so gloomy here and it's rainy. I guess northern Minnesota is getting the snow. We're not getting the snow. I didn't know acquired Victor. Oh, you didn't know the Lakers that picked him up? Yeah, the Lakers that picked him up a while ago. He's been there. I bet he's been there a good 20 games. I mean, maybe a fewer than that, but yeah, he's been there for a minute. He's been up there for a minute. He fits in well. I mean, no matter how old the Lakers do end up this year, they've made themselves a lot younger. by picking him up all those drafts and the Timberwolves giving away the main part of their team, the Lakers got a lot younger, and so I mean that's because like I was watching a couple games, and after they got him, Victor Yao. But after they got him, I remember looking at the team, and one time they set up, and when I looked at their set, I was like, wow, this team has gotten so much younger, tremendously younger, and so yeah, he fits in well because he can score inside and outside. I've seen Cocaine Bear; it made me a lot better. Oh, Cocaine Bear is so funny. It's about a bear who gets hooked on cocaine and goes insane. Insane in the membrane. But yeah, they fit he fits good. He fits good with them. Even with Davis on the floor, and you looked at all four of the other players that are, right in their peak, they made good moves. And it's gonna be interesting what happens next year. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see who gets the big fella out of France. I don't know if that thing I reported was right or not, but we'll see who gets him. And so, but we'll have to see how this script. The playoffs start next week, so the playoffs are started next week. So we're going to see, how the scripting is going, and the degree it's going. Quality rapping. I didn't notice. Okay. Oh, the Spurs. You didn't know the Spurs acquired him. Oh, yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. You just read the article. See, I don't know if that was now the only part I can really verify is he did sign a contract. He did sign a contract with that team from France. That's the only thing I could really say that I've read somewhere else. So that he did. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I was talking about the Lakers and that big guy that they got that went to Gonzaga. I'm not sure. Yeah, they're getting a new. Thank you. Yeah, they're getting a new generation of players, and you had to, or you was gonna stay old forever. And you can take the Tom Brady route and just keep him forever. Uh, well, here just back issues. Tried to lift the trailer yesterday and put my back out, so hopefully a few days I'll be up to normal. Ever since I hurt my back a couple months ago, and it was from really shoveling. It was so much snow, and didn't really do a lot of stretching before shoveling. And you can have a heart attack shoveling. A lot of people. I know a lady. I don't know. I know someone that knows someone that knew the lady that had a heart attack, like shoveling this snow just this past weekend. So I kind of threw my back out too, and I'm still going through it. I got a chiropractor appointment tomorrow and acupuncture. Because right now I'm getting acupuncture on my elbow, but I'm trying to get him to do a little bit of my lower back. So, but yeah, definitely getting the chiropractor tomorrow. So I feel for you, man. I know how it feels. Definitely is bothersome. Definitely is bothersome. That's why, like bending, like when I hurt my back, it was really the bending of like I was cleaning my tub out, and that's really how I hurt it was cleaning my tub out. Just randomly bent over for a long time inside the shower and cleaning it out, cleaning the toilet, and that prolonged bending. When I stood up one time, the spasm hit me, and I've been getting spasms. Like I've said before, when I used to work for Bentler, where we made the chassis for the LS and the Thunderbird, lifting them chassis up on the CMM machine without a weight or without a back brace, really gave me problems that I still suffer with today. Because a chassis, a car rear is like what, about 6.5 feet, you know. So these place parts are pretty big and pretty solid, full pieces. And I had to put them up on the jig so the machine could see where the part was right or wrong. And that's the interesting thing about steel. So the CMM, you're trying to see how far when the production part goes in, you're trying to see how far it's with tolerance because it has to be within tolerance. The steel part, the way they put together, has to come within tolerance when we put it together as a whole. And we do have a master plan that shows what it should be. And so when the machine goes and measures it in space, the machine says, okay, this is where everything is in space on this part, and this is where everything in space should be, and it shows you the variance. And what's funny is you have the engineers with their people banging, because steel you can bang, and you're like banging, 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 and I'm like, so you gonna go do that in every part? I used to get mad because like that I can't measure you doing like that. What do you mean? I'm like, the next part you bring in ain't gonna have all that banging, banging, banging on it. So I used to get them frustrated, but I would do it. And I forget why I even went. Oh, but that's when I first heard my back lifting them chassis. I saw I've said this before. I saw the first ever built PT Cruiser. I saw the first ever built the LS, the first ever completed one. But I remember they brought the PT Cruiser actually to the factory. No, I must have went down there to Holland to the Prince factory. I think that's why they had it, and they had all three of the cars down there. They hadn't come out yet, and we got to see them before they came out. And I thought then, as I think now, the PT Cruiser was an ugly car that was a cheap model. That's all it was a cheap model. I've been looking back to Kevin Durant games while watching Aaron Hernandez's trial documentary. Oh, okay. I'll tell you, I don't know who this dude is. Again, they're on YouTube. Let me look this brother up. I swear, Dame Dash and Sloop. Somebody said this is a super slot. It's a prison dude. Let me see if I can find this prison dude. I think him and Dame Dash the same person. I think Dame Dash playing two people, but I could be wrong. Let's see, because he's been popping up. Okay, okay. But he looks. I mean, they have the same mannerisms, the same talk. His name is Alan something. He been in prison. Is this him? No, this ain't him. And I was just looking at this. I'm like, wow, is this guy playing two characters? Just makes you wonder sometimes. Like, wow. Like, wow. Just makes you wonder. Are they playing two characters? Let me see if this guy's not popping. Maybe here. No, I'm not. Oh, maybe I can go back in here. See my likes. I don't even know if I like this stuff though. Because I saw something on Dame Dash and then saw that cat, and I'm like, whoa, this is the same cat. And of course, I can't find him right now. Well, next time I find him, I'll bring him up. But I think Dame Dash is playing two characters. I think his name is Alan something. Let me see. Saw the shit earlier. But that's how it is sometimes. They come back as a different character that supposedly had all these. Here he is. Here he is. Let's see if I can. See if the picture comes up. All right. Let me see if I can get this up here. Because to me, it seems like this brother is playing two characters. So I guess it have to be over here. I don't know how to quite do this because it's on the phone, but I imagine I could find it here. Let's just go there. But the guy's name, his name is Real Adam Norman. Norma. Let's go. Real Adam. What is his name? Real Andre Norman. Let's look him up. But this dude looks like Dame Dash, and his speaking patterns are like Dame Dash. Real. What is his name? Andre. I can't type word for shit. Uh, where was his name? Yeah, just Norman. See what comes up. All right. I know I can't play too much of it, but let me see if I can get a few seconds out of it so y'all can get his speaking pattern. Hell, I might not even. I can just. I'm gonna have to go here.
Agree.
I'm hungry. I get hungry often.
Yeah.
I'm hungry now.
But I think it's important that you tell the story because of like who you were, at that point, what the mindset was, and what it was like to interact with you.
Well, first, my brother, my big brother, Dave Spence.
Tell
'Cause
me
I
that
told him
ain't
the story.
Dame Dash speaking
He said,
patterns.
that's the story I want in your book.
Ain't
Dave
that-
Spence requested that.
Ain't that his speaking
So,
patterns?
Because I love Dave
ain't that his speaking patterns? Dude sound just like him.
first. But it was going in there. So the story was, I woke up, I'm in prison. I'm the third ranking gang member in the state.
Now, this is how the brother look. This is him. Now, it's a big old belly. He got a huge belly. But I mean, it's very possible prosthetics. I mean, their mannerisms are alike. So, I don't know. No disrespect, but that was my first impression when I saw this cat. I was like, this is somebody playing two characters. That's what it appeared like to me. So, you can judge for yourself. What does it say here? Been looking back. Okay. He was an NFL. Let's see. Is it up here? No. What is it doing? Okay. Slow. Yeah, I mean they sound familiar, but just the gestures, just the way he was hesitating his words, it's like these brothers sound a lot alike. And again, this guy probably got a whole life story, but I'm just, how is it that they sound so much alike? Was it just because they're from the same area, possibly? I don't know. And no shade, no disrespect meant. It's just that's what it seems. It seems like they're very similar. Like they are very similar. That's my only thing. But it's just observation. So don't get mad at a pimp. It's just some observations. I could be wrong, but that's just what it appeared to me. Appeared very too much of a coincidence. Uh, it's funny, all these fake. Whoops. Okay. It's funny, all these stories that we're supposed to feel emotional about, and I hope that you see me that you think of when you hear these stories. It has to go back to what does this mean to me? I mean that's everything. So whatever's going on, and you listen to this information, which a lot of times is propaganda, but you have to really look at what does it mean to me? How does it impact me today? Is it something I should feel emotional about? Spurs didn't get that was April Fools. Okay, CWE. Thank you. I wasn't sure about that. He was an NFL player. No. Oh yeah, I know who Hernandez is. Yeah, I know who Hernandez is. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. And I said that last night, CWE. I said that last night. It could be a prank. I said the only thing I could really, I know he signed with the other team. Now the amount of money, I'm not sure, but I know he did sign with the other team. Yeah, his brother, his father, none of his friends believe they put him on. Huh. Hey, thank you, Pale Horse Rider. Thank you for joining. Everything is smooth. Yeah, Aaron had that his brother and his stepfather. None of his. I have to wait till it comes on this other screen. Not sure what you mean there. What came across? I don't know. Just it's to see this and then like, wow, what is this? That's sad. Wow, that was really sad. A student at my daughter's school passed. Young girl. Aaron did not take himself out. Cam Newton, Fred Taylor, Chad Johnson said they don't believe that he took himself out. They said on his podcast, I don't think so either. I don't think so either. I think that's probably valid. The whole story makes no sense, and I've talked about this story before. It makes no sense. The story makes no sense to say that that a that if you do a murder, that you are so inept that you just take the body in your subdivision where they're doing some construction. Not only you're so inept and unclued and think you can get away with it, you smoke a joint with fingerprints on it. I mean, when you see things like that, it don't work like that. Really, somebody's that nonchalant, and all the way the TV police shows you about information and how DNA that all of a sudden that you're that nonchalant, that you're just that mad at the world. Nah, that story doesn't make any sense other than the shaming. Other than kind of a sacrifice probably for New England as well, shaming their player for their success. You notice they didn't shame Tom Brady. They had to take a young brother that was already vulnerable. Then all these other stories, well, I was this prison gay lover and I messed around with him in high school. Now, if all those things happened, it would have seemed like those stories would have came out before and not just afterwards. So, I don't know. He had the best lawyer money can buy. He was telling everyone he couldn't wait to get out. Aaron's brother DJ was just arrested by throwing a brick at ESPN's headquarters. Wow. Wow. Yeah, none of his friends and none of his families believe. Exactly. That would have came out. That would have came out when he was playing. So, yeah, I think it's hitting DJ highs used by the beast system. Could be. How do you swing back at a system that you felt, harmed your family member? How do you strike back at it? Because even if we strike back, most of the time it's going to end up hurting us and not the beast. Because the beast can take a lot of blows, and the beast is the most patience. Patience. And that's what we don't understand is we don't have the same type of patience. And that's why I say with spirituality, you have to have patience, but you have to put in the work at the same time as having the patience to wait for it to, activate. So, DJ used to work for ESPN. He wrote a note on the brick. Okay. Wow. That's kind of deep. So he wrote a note on him. Wow. Oh, I guess I could have done that too. Yeah, I have to go up there and do it. That's all right. Exactly, everything. Yeah. So we know that story wasn't true. I mean, it made no sense. And you say, well, criminals don't have common sense. That's not true. And then when he died in prison, we knew he's like, oh, okay, y'all just taking him out, giving him plastic surgery, putting him somewhere else. And as I say all the time, people look alike. I mean, I've ran into people, and I said this last couple days. I ran into a guy that looked so much like my brother Adam that and he was taller. And I know my brother Adam ain't taller than me. But maybe a half inch. We about the same height. And he looked that much like my brother. I mean, almost identical. So people look alike. And as I said, at the Target Center, I saw a dude that was a dark-skinned version of my oldest son. Saw another guy that was looked like another version of my oldest son. So people look alike. So it's easy to hide these people. It's very easy to hide them. James, Lucifer, Wooten, Branch, or Red Wolf, Jim Red Wolf. Welcome. As a brother that has, we've been friends on Facebook for a long time and talking back and forth. He was, before they got rid of my other channel, had him on. And yeah, look at his channel. sign up for him. He has a good research mind. He has a good eye of history, and he has a eye on telling his opinion from experience and experience of a researcher. So, good brother. Fact, they do it all the time. Indeed, they do. Indeed, they do. Indeed, they do. So make sure you subscribe to James Lucifer Wooten Branch, also known as Red Wolf. And I said before, we have when I tell a story about my aunt's husband out of Chicago, he was a branch out of Chicago. And that was my like Chicago connection. He was matter of fact, before Caprini Green got tore down, I believe, if I remember right, he was working for the housing authority. Because I don't know if y'all remember, before they tore all those projects, the Taylor Homes, all those, the Good Time projects, all those projects in Chicago, before they tore all those down, Caprini Green was another one. They had Chicago Housing Authority police. They had their own police. The projects had their own police, housing authority. And at one point, my uncle became that. And hey, Doai TV, thank you for joining. And she's another beautiful sister that has a lot of, she plays a lot of good vibe music, just where she let people just come in and vibe. So she's another one that you should subscribe to and see the information and the way she looks at things and the way she presents it. So always positive, but positive. And that's, what I try to vibe with positive people. And so when we get these attacks, we get these attacks all the time. And from these attacks, we have to be able to, ciphers, sprinkle through what is real and what is not real and what could affect us. And that's the biggest thing. And that's the shocker, like what we went through a few years ago. That's what they have a hard time of doing is what can personally affect everyone. So, as I'm getting deeper and deeper in this book and trying to and understanding how, the behavior resources we give them freely. Behavior resources. This is what we give them freely. This is why they track us. Yes, they also do track us to know where we are, but they track us more because they want to see what we're doing at all times so they can make money off this information. That's why they track us. They want to learn what we do so they can make more money off everything we do. That's how this system is set up. And this and there's value. There's value. And that's what's mind-blowing is they won't tell you that you're giving away all this thousands of dollars that's obviously important to them. And there has to be a point where we're compensated for our behavior or surplus that they tap into. Because obviously they don't care about privacy laws, because privacy means nothing to the surveillance capitalist. Privacy is their enemy. That's their enemy, is privacy. So just as they're making all this money from us, we need to find a way, well, not only to block them out, but also to get re-compensated for them prying into our lives and making money off it. And we know the ads, we get to talking about something, the phone hear it, and all these ads come. So there should be a way where we get some points or something every time they try to do this kind of thing to us. Branch comes from a long line of Chickasaw after the split from the Choctaw. I don't really know a lot of his family, but I know that he probably came from some other part, like most folks, melanated folks did. And more than likely, him being, now he was a little older than my aunt, but not much older. Not old as my older uncle, Edwin, not as old as him, because he was in Korea War. But and Joe Branch might have been a Vietnam vet too. But out of Chicago. Let me see. My cousins had older sisters too. Kathy Branch comes to mind. She was a Chicago girl that was around my age. It was funny looking at, because these are stepsisters. and she looked just like my cousin. It was kind of funny. Like, what about what? Like, she had a sister. My cousin looked just like her sister. I mean, it was funny seeing the older version and the younger version at the same time. So yeah, he's probably part of that came to Chicago during the migration to Chicago. So, but yeah, I don't know enough about him. Oh. So it's been a chill day for me. No big news. Again, we knew that the Talking Heads was going to be pretty quiet on this championship. It's just about praise, and you still want to throw that racist thing in about the other players. My mother was telling me, "What do you think about the game?" And like the thing with the two girls, with the girl putting her hand in front of her face. Do you know this was like it for the whole thing to happen was less than 10 seconds. The game ends. Her and Paige walk by each other. She does like this, and then she does like this. It happens in less than 10 seconds. They make the thing look like she stood there. They raised her on the platform, and she did that to her. Like they both was raised on the platform. No, it was like a 10-second crossing each other path. If you look at the clip is so quick. You wouldn't even like at the end of the game if you didn't really, and the camera purposely shot on both of them. That's another point. The camera shot like it closed in on her. So could that have been scripted for her to do that? Very possibly so. But it was, again, I'm giving you back what you give to me. That's all. So trying to put a racial element on something that wasn't racial at all is just part of shit talking. She won the championship. What do you think? We saw Arnold do it in the Super Bowl when he was with the Rams. He was doing the same thing while he was on the field. So it's just part of it. 3 seconds, but they put it slow motion. There you go. Yeah. So we see that this is, they made up something. And then today, again from the game last night, like I talked about last night, there's no controversy today. Not yet, but it's like the talking heads were very, very, very mild-mannered. And I did not check my stocks today. Divide and conquer, oldest trick in the book. Indeed it is. Because if you conquer both sides, and it was interesting. Listen to somebody a few minutes ago, and he was talking about what is a barbarian. Like, really, what is a barbarian and why barbarians are so successful? And it made me look at what Columbus and them was. Like when the European did their newer travels into the America, they act like complete barbarians. Because a barbarian just knows to kill and conquer and plunder. But yet they tried to call the others. And remember, barbarians are also cannibals. And we know for a fact that Columbus's men were cannibals. And that gets into the white tribe. And that can't be denied. You can find records of Columbus's people, his soldiers, going crazy because, again, it was a different diet. Completely different diet. And they found the only meat they could get that they're used to was other humans. And that started something in itself that there had to be decrees to make them stop doing it. So we get into why people is missing. It ain't the organ snatchings. Sometimes this is what they have a taste for. And they'll accept nothing less. We've seen this time and time again. Do y'all remember the John Mokley? What was it? It was the Jodie Foster movie where dude cut dude's head open to Ray Liotta. And remember, he took out some of Ray Liotta's brains and started frying them in the room while Ray Liotta was still alive. Y'all remember that? Which comes from the Game of Death, where they did the monkey like that. Remember, they showed all these people in Saudi Arabia or wherever they was at and had all the monkeys in the little things. And they all popped the monkey upside the head, and then they had the little thing that could pee. You had the little like can opener thing that went all the way around the monkey's head. Then they popped his skull off, and all of them plopped it out and was eating the monkey brains. Y'all remember that? The Games of Death or Eyes of Death or whatever it was called? Y'all remember that? But that scene was basically the same kind of deal. But again, it goes back into cannibalism. What do they say? What do they say with zombies? They say zombies want to eat the brain because if they eat the brain, they get to experience flashbacks from that person's life. And so they say that's why, that's the myth of why zombies want to eat other brains, or why they'll try to eat the brain first. Even though, how do you smash the brain? You know, how do you can't? We don't have teeth that can bite into brains. You would literally have to smash it open to get to the brain. I mean, that's just. Does a zombie have that much time and patience? Does a zombie have that much patience to sit there and smash the head open so he can get the brains like that? You wouldn't think so. Zombies don't seem very coordinated. FBI agents. Then the man responds, "I would kill." Ha! They kind of do. But yeah, divide and conquer. Yes, yes. Well, that's another part. They say that, and this what doesn't make sense is they say that they were able to get allies because the allies. Well, we know Columbus had no allies. It was just his army, his first 3 ships, and it wasn't really until they really fought him in the last few voyages is when they really just put boot to ass and started fighting the people and bringing the dogs in. And this is the story they're told. A lot of this still doesn't jive as believable that these fewer people could conquer all these people on sheer force and numbers and word of mouth. They would never be able to sleep, and you could constantly attack them. So that right there disproves any of that history, because that's so. Think about it. If you have a general of fighting armies, and he looks at, even though it's a new enemy like never before, but one thing he sees when he kills a few of them, he says, "Ah, these are just men. They're gonna bleed if we kill them." So what do men need to do? Men need to eat. Men need water, and men need to sleep. And if you only got 500 men, how are you doing these things? And you've got, if you just got swords, javelins against other swords, or just say other javelins, there are so many other ways that the Americans could have attacked them. Insects attacks. I mean, it's just so many ways that makes these stories not believable. That they were just able to conquer like that. But anyway, my point was, I guess I'm getting off a little bit. My point was, look who was the barbarian. Because a civilized person calculates, feels something for killing. That's a civilized person. But a barbarian is just killing and going at it. Taking whatever plunder. That's a barbarian. So when you look at who were the barbarians, it was definitely the Europeans were the barbarians. I think, what is it? Is it Little Big Man? Where the native people, what were the native people called? I think, but it was like the human beings. And maybe that's the man called Dancing with Wolves, where they call them the human beings. And it made you think that these people sometimes, even though they bled, it was like something there that they weren't even really humans. It makes you seem. But again, that's what a barbarian is. So how did a barbarian get these technologies from this ship and the metals? Good to the last drop. All right. What time is it? It's interesting. One thing that being retired helps with is, that thank God it's Friday kind of mentality and that dragging Monday. And you see that every day is just every day. I mean, the more personal freedom you have, that you live under less guidelines, you start seeing that these are all illusions. Like Friday and not having to do nothing for 2 days, it's all illusion. It's all illusion. It's all the pacification. It's all a veil. Because they train you from being in school at a young age how to work. That's all our school system, which is based off the Prussian military system. The German military system is what our school system is based on. But because it prepares you, I mean, like gym at first, gym class, physical education class, was to prepare young men for war, to keep them in shape for war. Because you remember the song 19 about the Vietnam War. The brothers from Vietnam was going in at 18, 19. The youngest in Vietnam to get killed was 16 years old. Young brother. Lied about his age. Went in at 15. He went in the military at 15 years old. Lied about his age. Got killed in Vietnam at 16. Come to find out when they really looked to see who he was. So this is why the PE classes keep people in shape. And as I said, Title IX is for so many other things, but it's the same thing as, get rid of the ABs to make sure the young ladies are shapely and stay in shape. Because now they have to be in the service as well. Or they don't have to be, but they can be. So. And so there's a mental slavery going on when you work. There's a mental slavery because you think you're in a system because, again, you don't think because your time's not free. In order to have the type of life you want to have, the quality of life you want to have, you have to do these other things. And so during what do they call it? During the quest, during the weekly quest of the money chasing. See, you're on the quest during the week. And most people's daily quest is about 5 to 8 hours. And because of these 40 hours, 35 to 40 hours, it gives you the mentality that when I get a break from that, it's something new. That I have a 2-day relief. But it's the same thing as when you went to school. It's the exact same thing. So there's no really relief. It's illusionary thing. I mean, what does most people say is too short? And remember, life is this. This is life. The years are short, but the days are long. And that's life. The years are short, but the days are long. Comes from Robert Hyland. Time enough for love. But that is it. The years are short, but the days are long. I know I had days where I'm probably still living them days right now. The day was so long. When I was living in North Carolina, working for the water department, we was running that rodder through those sewer lines. And it was like 85 at 8 o'clock in the morning, and by noon it's 90, and I'm out there, and the days just go down. Everybody's out enjoying the summer weather, and I'm working for the city on a Saturday. Probably still doing it right now. Some days seem like that compared to the years. I see parents with young children. And yeah, I have 2 boys that was 15 months apart. So it was nothing to see me with 5 children walking around. And you think, and that when they're little like that, you just don't realize how fast that goes. I mean, even my daughter, who will be 12 this year, is 11. Just how fast, because she was the baby all the, she's got a brother that's 24, 25 years older than her. What he's 20, she's 11, he's 33. Yeah, so 22 years older than her. All her brothers, even my son that pops in every now and then, even him and her are the youngest too. They're the closest. I have a 16-year-old daughter in Michigan, but who grew up here, they're 2 of the closest. They were always close. He was 8, almost 9 when she was born, and from the very time she was crawling, he always took an interest in her. They just always, there's a picture I have of them. I got to find it. But it just, they've always clicked. So, let's see. Yeah, OTF. Thank you for joining. Well, I got my fiance. I need to have a night where she go to bed, I go to bed. Because I'm even if I didn't do this, I stay up all night anyway. I like to do a lot of things in the early morning. So there has to be days where we fall down at the same time. So yeah, that's why I came on earlier. Thank you joining me. There was torture going to the slave job when it's nice day outside. Yeah, it is torture, no doubt. If possible, keep them away from the indoctrination camp. Keep them close. They can still sign up for sports to be around other children. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. How long I've been going, I'm not going to go too long today. because I don't really have a whole bunch to say, but try to put some positive energy out there in the world. Just some other considerations. It's not picking on anybody. We just have to see where we are and how we are, and then we look at it and say, well, that's not possible. What's proposed, as they say, the way things were done, it's not possible to be that and still have a functional society. You hear some of these things, and it's just not really possible. How did it function like that, and how did it function afterwards? So, hey, read my soul. What is happening? If you love sneakers, and I'm kind of a sneakerhead too, but Read My Soul is a sneakerhead. If you love sneakers, shoes, that's what he does. So subscribe to that brother. He has a good perspective on things, and but sneakers, yeah, he points it out. So thank you for joining. Always enjoy. Oh yeah, the D. Oh yeah, the D. Yeah, it's funny. We don't even call it Detroit. Everybody says the D. Like if somebody asks you what you're doing, you're like, "Are you going out in the D today?" And like, we shoot down there. Because from Battle Creek, it was only about an hour. I mean, you hit 94 again if you want to go by that. And you know what I heard? I never heard this. So when you go on 94 to Detroit, you're like right outside of you're outside of the worst roads in America. That 94 going straight into Detroit, like going to the airport, that is some of the worst roads in America. But anyway, there's a big tire that's been there forever. Now maybe Nick Taylor knew this, but I didn't know this part because that big tire's been there since I was like in the 70s when we used to go to Detroit. It's been there that long. I did not know that tire was once a circus wheel, a Ferris wheel. I did not know they converted that tire into a Ferris wheel because that the first time I remember going to Detroit had to be 69. I mean, when I was aware, so I was like 7 or 8, and we went to the Detroit Zoo. We spent some time in Bloomfield Hills. My dad's wife had family out there. So we went to, but I remember that was one of the first times I reckoned. I had been to Detroit many times before then, but I just, being old enough to remember. But I was reading the thing about it. I was like, wow, I never knew that was a Ferris wheel before it was that big tire. So something new, something new. Much love to everyone. COG, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Yes. Yes. And Conspiracy University, bro, if you ever listening and you know my information. We are still cool. So hit me up whenever. Hit me up whenever. I love creative people, and I know you're creative. I know you got your hands full. I know you guys had you have young children. I know you got a young one, so I know you've been busy, bro. But you can holler at me. You cool with the motherfucker? I'm cool with you. Well, why they say I still fucks with you? So your gesture was appreciated. I see what it is, bro. But I just came on earlier because again, I'm not gonna come on tonight. So I thought I'd get a little time, a little practice, because this is how you have to practice. You have to practice to be sharp, and then practice with the equipment too. That's what a lot of this is practice on the equipment, and then just try to see. Like one thing I like about is just to try to see on how many things I can just keep chopping on. Whoa, didn't expect to see all that. It went away. It went away. I wonder. Wow. Wow. I don't know. I can hold that thought for now. Where did that? Oh, that's okay. Ooh, didn't mean that. All right, I'm fucking around with stuff. Okay. That's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. That's what I needed. So yeah, not a lot going on today. Wow, I'll tell you one thing I do like that the weather has stayed colder. These winter clothes are getting cheaper and cheaper up here. So yeah, it's like the colder it is, even though they try to bring the spring stuff out, the winter stuff is out there. And Macy's has the best sales. Macy's, Marshalls, TJ Maxx is kind of okay too. So depending if you're a clothes lover or not. Now I'm a clothes lover. I buy clothes damn near every week. I have to quit getting so many hats because it's like where to put them, where to keep them. So it's like, do I need this new hat? And most of the time, the answer is yes. So somebody asked me, do I collect? I guess I do collect clothes and hats. But as some people said, when you spend money, you should kind of spend money on things that kind of hold their value. Now, clothes and hats only hold their value to a certain group. So there's no really value other than a collector's kind of thing. And the clothes, depending what they are. Now, when you buy jewelry, again, jewelry has another. It can keep added value to what you are investing in compared to just your basic things you need, food, those kind of things. And so those are interesting perspectives, to learn as even a young person is like how like there's so many different things out there to invest in. How do you get this value out of everything you touch and everything you buy? How is there value in that? And that's one thing I like about this show because one thing that for me purchasing clothes, I can get value out of my clothes is by wearing them on the show. And no, they're not paying for them, but yet the clothes help far as a costume, if you understand that. So from that vantage point, I am getting a little value out of the different costumes. I'm making them have a different value. So they're not just something I wear around, they're something I can present myself on this with, if you understand. Now, shoes, on the other hand, is something that just. Now, I'll say this. I'll say this as far as shoes. And it's really like this for me at this point in my life. I'll be 62 this year. I pretty much have to wear almost a new pair all the time, especially if I walk. And one reason why I haven't bought any Adidas is they just don't give me enough forefoot. They just don't. That's why I love the Jordans. They give me enough forefoot because it's almost like I break my foot if I don't wear the right shoes. I suffer. Like I think I wore the wrong house shoes for a minute. I had to get right way. I had to get back. Now the bounce slides are totally different than the bounce that's in the shoes. So I can't wear them. And that's why I haven't even got to Donovan Mitchell's, any of his new ones, and just strictly going with the Jordans. Because so far the mixture of wearing the Jordans, wearing the Maxes, the Jordan Maxes seems to help and keep my feet healthy. So for me, that's also a need. That's also a medical need almost. Where alchemically, I have to figure out what shoes to wear every day so I can feel my best. If you understand. So again, there's a different value there. There's a medical value in buying the shoes also. So I'm collecting them, but medically, they help me also. Um, well, thank you, Read My Soul. We're getting it together. I'm almost got everything together. Almost. There's still a lot to do in the room. Um, I'm my daughter. She's on spring break, so this is my day spending with her. So it's like I kind of move into this room when she's here because most of my clothes are in her room. But when she's here, I don't go in the room other than to check on my plants, make sure she don't freeze my plants because this heat is. Oh, oh, y'all. If I play ball, some of y'all gonna be in trouble. I have 10-foot ceilings downstairs, and I could touch them. So the first attempt, not so much. I probably got up about that much, but I put my tennis shoes on and I touched the 10-foot ceiling. No, barely touched it with the tip of my finger, but I did touch it with the tip of my finger. So I still got ups. And this year, I'm going to hoop again like I did last summer and show you guys how. I'm going to play my nephew, whose team made it to the sectional. Watch me destroy him. He's 18 years old. He can slam dunk. He can slam dunk him, but I am going to destroy him at 18, and I'm 62. So, but I'm going to tell you guys now that My son, you see in the videos, will be refereeing. Now, you may say that my son will be intimidating him because this is his cousin. So that could be true. So just to give you a little warning on how we're going to put it up. Definitely, definitely. Tyrone, welcome. No, just going to have some fun. That's all. We're just going to have some fun. That's all. Just have some basketball fun. That's all it was with my son. It was just having fun with him. And it's funny. I had this conversation with my son when he was a boy because after I got custody of him, he was like 8, 9. And at this point, he was living with me. He was living with me too, at the time. And I just remember having the conversations like, wow. I said, you and I are going to live together for a long time. I said, possibly you and I are going to live together more than any point of my other children. And of course, I lived 18 years with the other, 2 boys I raised. And my 33-year-old, I mean, but it's just funny how, being with him, again, since he was born, but the time we spent together as I'm older, I guess it's just, and he's so much like me. Like when I take a shower, well, all of us when we take showers, we play music. My fiance is the same way, but my son gets that from me. So he has a lot of my good habits. He has a great heart. And from the little boy he was, because that's where I got choked myself from my children. I had to give them a choke themselves because they would do stuff. So I would just make them walk over to me and put their necks in my hand. I would just make them just choke yourself because they were just walk up to my apartment building at the time. My little boy was 4. He is standing on the edge of a 2-story apartment. He's standing on the edge. You know, kick the screen out, screen's on the ground, and he's standing there. Like, get back in the house. So can you imagine this kind of thing all the time? 2 of them doing that. When they were both like 1 and 2 and we'd go out to eat, it would be like so much stuff on the ground. They would just eat and just throw on the ground what they didn't want. Embarrassing. Embarrassing. But all you can do as any parent, just do your best. Love your children no matter what. Do the most you can. Support them any way you can. Without any, and it's a thankless job. I don't know if you guys remember, this is one of the oldest memes, but there was a little young lady and the father was driving and he was just going back and forth. And he's like, wow, he had just bought him some food. And he said, you guys are just the most unthankful humans on earth. You don't even thank me for buying you guys dinner. His oldest child said, thank you for feeding me. Your job is to feed me. Me and my siblings will never thank you for feeding us, for you doing your job. And the father was just like, damn. But it ain't like that. I mean, yes, it is our job to make sure that you are comfortable. Now, listening to this King Von saga, when they interviewed him, living in the projects, now I don't know his family, but he lived in the projects. So more than likely his mama had Section 8. And I don't know or not, but I'm saying on Section 8, even with children, he says himself, we had everything we needed. That's what he says. They just an interview. He said, now we didn't have everything we wanted, but we had everything we needed. Now, again, father not in the home, dies very young. Father dies very young. So where does the what you want come from? Because if his mother gave him everything that he needed, wasn't hungry, wasn't stinking, had decent clothes, And what makes a person murderous that's not military trained? That's what's interesting too. Now you can go into are these people psychopaths? Which it appears the music comes out like a psychopath. Seems to be a whole society of psychopaths the way it's presented. And it's like, how, again, if these people were raised with everything they needed, because that's what it looks like. It looks like all this group of people that lived in these buildings, they from block to block to block have different beefs. But all these people were pretty much raised the same way. They all were given what they needed. So where does violence come from that? If all these people are on the same wavelength and have exactly what they need. And is that where the want comes in? You know, the want demon? We have to show these people, okay, they're not hungry, they're not naked, they're going to school, but we still have to make these people wish for more. We have to find division. Because if all these people on all these different streets unite, where does it put, the thing that's looking back at it? So again, I ask you, where does it prepare these people? Where does it prepare these people to murder so easily? Young people. Young people accepting a life of going to prison. And as I said, now the videos of prison is popular. Make the shit look like a resort. Well, he just did 20 years. Like, these niggas, do you understand what 20 years is? I have a friend that did 40 to 50. Wouldn't tell. 40 to 50. And as I said, my other best friend did probably a total of 15. He did straight like 20 to 31, 32. Nothing glorious about that. No shaming, no shaming. But where across America do these young men learn how to be such calculated murderers? Again, the barbarians. How are these concrete raised people barbarians? How are they born with so no conscience? And I know, but we're like, even the crack babies. We're like the crack babies is almost grandparents. Some of the crack babies could be in their 30s. So is that what it is? It goes back into who's the barbarians now. So it gives you a pause. And how is this spread across America? I mean, these people do all these murders and then they can just openly talk about it. Like, this is the Wild West. And people are eating it up. What is it? Does that make something wrong with us? That we eat up that kind of thing? Glorify, dying young, dying sacrifice? I mean, if you're rich and if you require security sometime, you probably should have security all the time. And you look at these young men that put themselves in situations where they obviously should have had security. If you're worth $10 million, you ain't around no one else worth that much, you need a lot of protection. You need a lot of protection. And it seems like some of these dudes, despite go places, and again, it's easy to trigger people. It's easy to trigger someone. Where someone just knows how to light your fuse and light you to the fire. And because you become short-sighted in your hate. See, when they kill these people, what the people don't understand, as soon as they land, and I've talked about this before, but this is how they move. If they're plotting to kill you, and the gematria of people know, this is why you study everything. You see these numbers and stuff, you got to kind of wonder, whoa, I signed my contract with all these numbers, and look at the number on the next day. And you going somewhere? These people are plotting on you. They know your itinerary just as much as you do. So they're going to be at these different places to see which opportunities. I mean, what did you see about the Malcolm X film the night before they killed him in the Audubon Ballroom? They went to a party there the night before to look it over. What does he say? They've looked at every angle. When Jim Garrison gives his speech about JFK, they're patient. They know when to strike because the killers are given scenarios. And in Chicago, killing people in the streets is the same thing from the 1920s that the Italians and the Sicilians did to each other. How is that regurgitated? I mean, the taste of Chicago was probably the best taste in the country. Over there, kind of off the North Shore area, downtown, Lake Shore area, it'd be like 10 blocks with stages on every block and different kinds of food. Downtown Chicago. That shit was so cool. Of all the tastes I've been in, it by far had the most versatile foods, different cultures, entertainment. Every block had their own entertainment. And you slowly saw the violence that destroyed that event. Now, it might be a small event, but I'm talking about for years, this thing was nice, really nice. And remember, what we had in weekends in Chicago, we had more killed in Chicago on some weekends that was when the war was going on than was killed in the war. You remember those weeks? They kept numbers of how many people were killed in the Gulf and Afghanistan wars. And there were some weeks that it was more people killed in Chicago than was killed in these wars, as far as Americans. So again, what creates the barbarian? When the barbarian is given everything that America says it's going to give. Because in some ways, these social programs are a form of socialism, communism, state taking care, some ways. But the state says we give you everything you need. We don't guarantee everything you want. And so the pattern is you work a little harder to get what you want. And again, some reason these people seem to pick crimes, certain type of crimes. That's why you got a whole generation of dudes talking about dope that didn't even sell dope. They was telling stories that they uncles and daddies, like that grinding. You think them dudes was really old enough to make enough money on coke? When that song came out, it was like coke was on the down, wasn't rising. It wasn't the peak. I mean, yeah, it sounded good, but it wasn't the peak of when people was out there really getting it. And it's funny, Big Meech and them story was interesting. This was later when that stuff was dying. That's what them stories is. When it was like when they got busted and everything, that life was even going away. And what's interesting is what crystal meth and heroin did. And again, we know heroin comes directly from Afghanistan and crystal meth. I mean, a lot of folks just got sober. That's what people don't talk about. A lot of people was like, "This ain't the life. I'm gonna just get sober," and that's what a lot of people did. That's how a lot of people got off drugs. They just cold turkey just got sober. And the people that still wanted to get high, meth was way cheaper. And the people that they gave the liquid heroin to, which used to be, remember, they told you about liquid heroin in the movie Tombstone. They call it Lidomin. Lidomin. It's nothing but codeine based drink in Tombstone. And that came out in what, 81, 82. That's how long that stuff been around. Where people were not craving cocaine anymore. And during the peak, remember, it was even powder. They was even telling you powder was obsolete. That's when the crime bills came out, and the crime bills were different for powder and crack. because the perception was different. When in fact, people made just as much money during those years selling powder. I was just thinking about a guy, and I don't know if he's with us or not. His whole life, he just sold powder. Now, I'm pretty sure he was some type of agent. He had made some type of agreement, but block behind him, it was like 10, 20 houses got hit selling crack. I mean, like his house had people coming and going all the time, but it was like people would be staying too. We sit on the porch and shit, just be bullshitting. But I never knew him to get raided selling powder. And it's funny. I think this is one guy I know for sure probably did powder every day of his life, and I knew he had a stroke. I saw a couple pictures, but yeah, this dude probably from his 20s until if he's still alive, he would be a year older than me. He probably snorted cocaine every day. That's crazy. That's crazy to snort cocaine for damn near 30 years, and I'm sure he did. But I think health wise, he suffered from that. I don't know. Um, let's see here. Here we go. Because I've been drinking a lot of water. And I have to be. Oh, so. Oh, trying to see. Ah, yeah, that's it. Ah. Oh well. Doom, 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 doom. Doom, 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 doom. Ah. Doom, doom, doom. Do your thing while I do my thing. All right. All right, I'm back. All right, I'm back. All right. Thank you for those of you that are patient. I appreciate it. All right. Oops. There we go. Don't need it like that though. All right. Here we go. Needed to stretch my legs there. Thank you for those who was watching and didn't turn away. I think I'm still go a little bit. I'm feeling pretty good. I'll go long as I got something to say. And if I don't have something to say, then I'll kill it for the day, which is okay too, because I've been going on for an hour, and that was my goal, was to go on for an hour. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I'll just go off. That's cool too. Enjoy them a day. Get a little more meditation in. Think I've got everything I need to do right now. So yeah, thank you. I'll just this be as good as time as ever. Uh, let's see. Yeah. Hmm. Not sure why that's like that. Oh, this is so funny. Here you guys go. Black men. I mean, oh my goodness, this is borderline, man. This is just borderline. But it's like the sisters are all over sexualized. Look, his hand on her hip. Was that what does he say? The claw? Ah, and look at this. What do you say, Sly? The green lines? He's turned into her. She's straight up, but he's got the claw on her, which means control. But it's just like always this negative. Look at this. I'm not even sure who this is. Who is this? Who is this? Okay, but look at that. Look at this. Aggressive. Why? Submissive. Pretty girl. Oops. Source. I mean, why is that? Just like what we have here. You know, she has the cheetah print. Oh, this is funny here. Do you know you could go into a barber shop and you could ask for these? This is called the professional. This professional afro. Oh. This is called the professional afro. Then you got the sportsman. So if you was a hooper, you know, you'd take a little bit off the back. You know, now who says that? Who says that was saying they people wasn't squared up? You telling me this afro ain't squared up? Who was that? Which one of you young dudes was saying we didn't have our stuff squared up? It looked like this afro squared up to me. To me? Okay. I am getting a little bit of echo. Okay. This is called the Duke. Short afro, but still squared up. This is called the executive. I don't know. This may be for light skinned dudes. I don't know. It don't look much different. Ooh. I do not want that. Hello? All right. Sorry. Let's go here. He's called the flat top. This is called the flat top. Yeah, you just want that flat top. And this is called the square. So one of you young dudes was talking about wasn't no shapes ups. These are shape ups and got afros. See? Wasn't all, you know. And I would say this kind of, I remember wearing my hair, I would comb it back and had a little more in the back. And I guess it's kind of like what that is. But it's funny. You go to the barbershop and, you could just tell them, you could point to what you wanted. And literally, you could point to, I want my hair cut like this. It was something on the back, and you could say, I want my hair cut like this. This is probably what most people my age remember. You could go through and say, well, this is how I want my hair. Maybe it's the same picture. Who you want it like. Isn't it funny how all this stuff is coming up by the thousands, the same thing? But that's how simple it used to be. And this is, why the culture, and you have these people wanting to take advantage of the barbershop culture, bring that into your living room, because and here we see a little mixture of we saw his picture already, his, but they added. I guess that's how I used to look, something like that. I call this the Frederick Douglass. Damn, I didn't know you had a part through your whole head. So your afro, and then a part through your whole head. What is that called? It's too small. Isn't that crazy? That is funny. And this is grease, hair grease. Later, this would be Jerry curl juice. It's kind of how you put the Jerry curl in. Are these wigs? Let's see if these are wigs. Yeah, these are wigs. Let beauty go to your head. You could order these online. Diana Ross and them during the Supreme days all had wigs. These used to be in cheap magazines. The back, you could just order a wig for $2. Or here's $10.99. $6 for a wig. The old days used to be, it was so much from the old days. Well, my wig came in today, honey. It's the same kind of thing, though. Yeah, more wigs. Yeah, it looks like more wigs. And not necessarily European style hairdos. Not necessarily. Because as Tasha, she always mentions buffalo grease. A lot of our hair would respond to buffalo grease. '80s stuff. These old '80s haircut. The door knockers. Y'all ever heard these called door knockers? The big earrings, door knockers. What's the line here? You know how Sly be saying the line? Look at that. Because behind, but the control. The control. So even though she's in front, he's still controlling her. And I think Sly talked about this, that Farrah Fawcett, like, look, big hair. Uh-oh. Y'all remember him? Take life a little easier. I know, now Sly is from Chicago. I know he know about Jack in the Box commercials. From Jack in the Box. He was in Blazing Saddles, a very small role, but Rodney Allen Ripley never really blew up. Is this Dark and Lovely? Women's hair care, Dark and Lovely. Wait a minute, let's bring that one back down. Don't beat around the bush. Get hair so new. Get them tangles out. Man, my hair is so tangled. Is this hot comb? Oh no, the dreaded hot comb with Vargari, hair relaxer, and a hot comb. Damn, that does. So you use that thing that has to get red hot, put this stuff in your hair, some type of lie, and it can make it look like that? I don't think so. Without getting burnt. Without getting burnt. You could do all this without getting burnt. I don't think. Let's. Whoops. Richard Roundtree. Look at that. This is before Shaft. They threw all these other guys in there with him. Afro Sheen. Remember, Soul Train didn't have it first. They didn't have any sponsors. So they did their own commercials with Johnson Hair Care products. Because Johnson Hair Care, Johnson Publishing there put a little money with Don. So their early commercials was just dancers in another studio. Yeah, this is Shaft. But I used to use the blue Afro Sheen. Not this satin sheen shit. See, this is how he got his start. Duke. Hair grease. Who do you think that's targeted at? Oh, again, when you open it up, they'll show you more. Where you can get a hot comb. Curling combs. Blowout. Do y'all know what blowout was? You know what a blowout was? Where you had this small afro and you kind of use these on it. And you could get it that lift. See right there? You get that afro lift. Blowout kit. I used to tease niggas. They'd come to school, it would untighten your hair. And I think this is Elisa Bonet from that movie she played in, where Sly was talking about, Bill did beg her not to play in it. Where it looks like her and Mickey, what is his name? He did the wrestling movie. But it does look like they do the nasty in the movie. It is kind of like not just a regular sex scene. It's like a beat it down, when you're beating it down. It's one of them kind of sex scenes. Not sure who this is. I think this person here plays linebacker from somebody, so not sure who that is. That is a rough-looking person. Kind of looks like a rhino, but not sure who that was. Oh, my man. Don't take it personal. Take the bitter with the sweet. Easy come, easy go. Oh, Jermaine. Oh. Damn. Who is this? What is this called? This Dark and Lovely? Carl. I never had this hairstyle. I think only younger cats than me had it. Even though I did know a few brothers around me, but that wasn't for me. That shit looking at other niggas and trying to be like them. I never got that. And I've told his story too many times, how courts allowed his money to be taken. He had 18 million at one time, which would be today's money about 80, 90 million, which should have set this guy for life. And the courts repeatedly allowed his adopted parents to steal his money in bad investments. A bad investment after bad investment, the courts kept agreeing. And you can look through that documentary. It's really sad about him. Now, is this a sacrifice? They let him get to a point and they sacrificed him. Right here. Now, let's see if I can find, because he might be the new guy. I don't know if this is the new guy or the old guy, but one of theirs got sacrificed. And of course, he lost two sons, two of his singing entertainer sons sacrificed. I say their original, it was three of them, and one of them was sacrificed for them. But it appears like, they let him be a record owner, label owner. Oh, and one of the biggest traders of them all, Messy Jesse, Run Jesse Run. As I told the story before, I've known Jesse Jackson since I was 4th or 5th grade because my uncle's best friend was his bodyguard. As Jesse went to North Carolina A&T and played football. It's very doubtful that Jesse Jackson is even his real name. And he is, if you really follow his career, he's one of the first guys you can really see where he's boule from the beginning to the end. Because I think even at a point where, even though the boule had pushed King since he was 5 or 6 years old, the boule saw something different than Jesse. And the controllers of the boule even saw something different for Jesse. And so with the whole King scenario, remember, this guy did nothing but where people were killed, he went in and took over their businesses. Fred Hampton's killed, he takes over the breakfast programs and the lunch programs and calls them Operation Breadbasket. And when King gets killed, he says, where there's a death, there's a resurrection. And he's talking about him replacing King. Now, when he goes into A&T, he went to some other college first. He goes to A&T. He becomes Jesse Jackson. This is probably where he started working for the government. Again, remember, it was all the civil rights and everything, and they had plucked this guy fairly early. As I'll say one thing that Dane Calloway did say right about the civil rights era is that this is they pushed the youth to do this. They didn't push people that were established landowners. They pushed the young people. I mean, look at all of them. Like Stokely Carmichael, another agent, went to Howard, I think. And this is the same messy guy that came up with the African American thing, which again takes you away from the land. But he's paying for it because Messy Jesse has Alzheimer or dementia. They brought him here to Floyd, leading him around. Floyd, you could see in his eyes, he's gone. He paid his price. They shamed him too. Remember, Jesse was like king, had other children out there. Remember how they shamed his son? Made him go to prison for stealing money as a senator. Not a real senator or congressman with any real power. DC, their person doesn't have power. And we see him, a year or so ago, they take him across the bridge. He could walk. What we see this year? Woo! We didn't even see him walking, did we? He couldn't even walk. They pushed him in a wheelchair. As I said the other night, why is this? Why would they push him in a wheelchair? Why would they allow him to even be there? Why would his family? And this is where you see, these beasts can't ever quit. That's why you got dude playing Indiana Jones again at 2,000 years old. They can't quit. They have to keep doing what they're doing. They're not allowed to stop doing it. Every ounce of it, there's a possibility they might change someone's mind. Again, the behavior surplus. I mean, this is how tight a ship they want. This is how much control they really want. Because they look at it, well, if there's just anybody out there that might still need to be Jesse there, that small percentage of people, we need to bring them in. Because again, that's behavior surplus. They want to cover themselves in every way. So they put these people out there. And so this is not a great man in any way, shape, and form. Look at the picture when they show him when the conservatives fell behind George Wallace and they all in his office. Look at these guys. Let me see if I can find that. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find that picture. Well, let's see if it's here. No, I'm gonna look that one up. I'm gonna look that up. See if they'll find this one for me. They're being funny. Maybe let me try this. Okay, now. I do not see that picture. Because it give me a bunch of Jackson 5 stuff. Yeah, they give me a lot of Jackson 5 stuff. They didn't bring it up. What if I go the other way? What if I put governor? Let's see, governor. Let's see what they say. I didn't change. Gave me the comedian. Maybe let me. That's what's his name. Let me see. Okay. I can use this. I can use this. I can't find the picture I'm looking for, but this picture right here. This is Lowry, one of King's old people, and this is Messy Jesse. Look at this look though. These people really think they have power. And I wish I could find that other picture, and it's not pulling up nowhere. But he's thinking he has real power. And you know whatever he did there was crooked. Whatever he did there was crooked. And he's more feeble than this. He's more feeble than this. He's a feeble looking guy now. And this messy guy with the big head. Look at all that. FBI informant. FBI informant. So there's no leaders. Let's see if this brings up this other picture. I mean, we have a bunch of people that, again, brought up from a child by the government, they're supposed to represent. You can see pictures of him. And then the education person, you know, rise yourself up through education into the boule. And then when you talk about wanting to be self-sufficient, knowing who you are, they try to destroy you. This man was poisoned to death in Russia by Americans because he stood up. Stood up as a man, all-American football player, great actor, because he stood up. Is this H. Rat Brown? Okay, agent. Stokely Carmichael, agent. I think he's a political prisoner somewhat, but that's H. Rat Brown that said America and violence is like apple pie. That violence is America. Okay. Another agent. Eldridge Cleaver, another agent, worked for the government. Remember, he was a World War II vet, shot in the back at his house, fighting the courts over civil rights. Martyr. He was a martyr. Now, I don't know if people remember who this dude is. This dude is A. Philip Randolph. It was his idea to march on Washington, to shut down the government. Remember, he was Pullman porters. Brothers was allowed to be porters on trains and sleeping cars. This is A. Philip Randolph, and he unionized them. But his thing on Washington had nothing to do with going through two dead presidents. It was to shut the government down peacefully. And this is my main man. This is Bunchy Carter, true Panther. If you look into his story and the history of the gangs in California, he was a Slauson. And he took all those Slausons and made them into Panthers. He was killed on UCLA's campus, along with, is it John Higgins, maybe? Now, Elaine Brown's book, A Taste of Power, she says that she was already a Panther, and the Panthers were giving a rally. And then Bunchy comes in with all these Slausons. Her story, she tell it, hundreds of Slausons come in. But if you study Bunchy Carter, you know that he was a Panther before her, and that she lies in her book, A Taste of Power. Now, I'm not saying everything she says is a lie, but for her to say she was a Panther before Bunchy Carter is an outright lie. And later, it could be this very same person help Kalinga, Kwanzaa creator, killing Bunchy Carter and John Higgins at UCLA's campus. And this guy was probably a real Panther in his heart. The social programs, he had real power. As I said before, Newton and Bobby Seale were both government implants. Light skin, dark skin. But not this cat. And when this cat, and I think he was in Vietnam for a year or two. He's still fairly young here. I think he gets killed like Fred Hampton, 2021. I mean, I'd have to double check that. And I'll thank Elaine Brown, because she does talk about him and got my interest in him where I never had studied about him before. So I'll thank you. You know, and that's how the information is. It's like it's good information overall, despite what she is. She did give away a little bit of truth, because that's what they have to do. Again, Bobby Seale, another agent. See if I'll show you the light skin, dark skin thing. Another agent. Didn't benefit us, didn't work for us. Worked for himself. Very odd picture here of these two. They're only meeting. Two people that work for the government in different ways. Mason handshake. Mason handshake. Why do you think they highlighted this in this picture? Wouldn't you think if they faced each other, if they faced each other, we wouldn't even be able to see them shake hands? I mean, if they were facing man to man, shook hands with their right hand, their other shoulder would be, but you see, they made sure you saw this. These are Masons. These are Masons. Okay? And this is later. But see, they made sure you saw this. They wanted the world to see this, because this tells the people who know who they are. Malcolm was a beautiful guy. I've said before, my mother met Malcolm. But understand, he wasn't the martyr you think. Of course, a beautiful man here, Fred Hampton. Very beautiful man. And he says, you know, you can kill the revolutionary, but you can't kill the revolution. Social programs. It's classism that's being played against us. A caste system. This is what he tells you. It's a caste system. And so he's the one that invented the Rainbow Coalition. It was him. Said, I'll work with the young lords. I'll work with the European dudes. Anybody that's struggling against this system, I am willing to work with. Now, it can often be said, this is what Elijah Muhammad, or this is the problem that Malcolm had with Elijah Muhammad, that Malcolm wanted to go do some work. Give me a second. Oh, I had to do a little tough love. Had to do a little tough love. And this is the thing about him. When you even study him, he's supposed to be in county jail. Okay? He's in county jail, and all the interviews in county jail, he got as many cigarettes as he can. His clothes are starched and pressed. I mean, it's the weirdest thing that he's constantly getting interviews in jail. I mean, it's a stage kind of thing. And he's a chain smoker. Chain smoker. Is that so a lot of, and this other picture of them is the light skin, dark skin thing. And I've said before, this poster hung in our living room as a child. Now, if you ever want to hear some pimpy stuff, it's Eldridge Cleaver. He married her. This is Kathleen Cleaver. If you read the book Sold on Ice, he's a pimp like there was never a pimp before. Now later he was very abusive to her, very abusive man. But she was a lawyer while this dude, Eldridge Cleaver, originally went to prison for 7 pounds of weed. Got so many years for walking down the street, he got caught with all this weed. That's probably when he started first working with the government. But she was like a lawyer. This chick was a lawyer. And he hits her with such rap. And it's interesting. I think some of the love letters are in there, but he hits her for such rap where she goes for it. But she found out he was very abusive. But look, again, that's why it was easy to connect. It was easy to get him addicted to cocaine because he was already a chain smoker. And as Sly and I talked about, so when they let him out of prison, he was addicted to coke, and he started freebasing, started smoking crack, and he was a vulture. He was a vulture in L.A. He was starting to rob dope dealers. And I'm surprised so I don't know if any of the characters are based off him on Snowfall. None of them I can really say. Maybe Sly, if he sees this, or anybody tells him about this, or I don't see any characters that play the vulture that he was. So, because that's how he got killed, is this dude started robbing dope dealers. Again, George Jackson is worth reading down. Again, he's killed in prison. And his story is really sad because he went to jail. He went to jail because he rode in a car with a guy that robbed a place. They got him to plea, and the plea gave him pretty much a life sentence for joyriding while somebody robbed a store. The way the judge sentenced him, it was open, which means life. And when we see his brothers trying to break him out of prison or out of jail because they felt that he was wronged. Okay, here we go. Light skin, dark skin. Light skin, dark skin. That's all you see here. 2 government agents, light skin, dark skin. Everything about this is supposed to be, anti-government. Who do you think even came up with these outfits? Very militaristic. The berets is the French from World War II. And this whole thing is scripted right here, you guys. This whole thing, this whole look of defiance to the man. But followed the laws in California. You couldn't have any, you could carry this. The guns had to show, but they couldn't have rounds, if I remember right. And then Ronald Reagan and the NRA, they had something to say about that. They wanted that changed because the brothers were showing power. But look at this. I mean, this is colorized, but look at this. This is what at one time what we aimed to be. Now, in the Mason dress, I understand, but just we took pride in our appearance, pride in who we were, compared to the sloppiness we see today. I mean, even here, it was prideful in the way we dressed, carried ourselves. Look at this, dirt all around them, but yet look how they're dressed. We took a style and we turned it into something that didn't exist. I mean, we took their style and we made it ours. Okay, and the Eastern people, we would wear hats. We would put feathers up. We'd wear hats kind of with feathers up like this, feather hats. So this was easy for us. We'd already done it. We already knew to cover our crowns. But just the look. And this is how, much sheep we are. They don't even know why they look like this, other than they've been told this is the uniform. Because you can see they're clueless. And I'll say there's power in this, having the same outfits. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of confidence in them. I agree. But we also have to look at this as, they're representing something that's not original to them. Again, the combat boots is the same combat boots they say they don't want for Vietnam. Very militaristic look. And if you see why they were attacked, this is the reasons why. And even though this has nothing to do with weapons and stuff, this is the rationale. This is why they were created to look like this. So when the police started attacking them, there was rationale. Where they're a military unit. I mean, we attacked them militarily because they're a military unit. And that's how conditioning works. And women. I mean, I was saying, showing the over sexualized. Look at this. Our people are always beautiful, and no matter what, we look good in it. That's just as sexy as anything is modern. If you look at just beauty, they don't have to have everything on to look good. Look at her eyes. Nina McKinney. I think she's in Emperor Jones. If you ever want to see any of her work, beautiful, beautiful. But you can see. I mean, full lips, no Botox. She's probably in her early 30s, late 20s, maybe younger. It's hard to say. Look how beautiful she is. See if there are any other pictures of her. I think this is her too. Yeah. This is, still the Betty Davis eyes. But look how full her lips. She's slightly older here. Still beautiful. Again. Look at that. Beautiful full lips. How beautiful this woman is. I'm sorry, guys. I ain't been reading. Sorry. Luciferian clothes. uh, oh, okay. Let's see. Luciferian clothes. All the black for the Black Saturn. Oh no. Let me see if I can find Greta Garbo. I'll show you who Greta Garbo is. Probably come up. No. Let's see if I can find her. Where am I searching? Kicked out. Okay. No, Greta Garbo was a old performer. So no code word. Oh. Yeah, right here. None of them are her. Let's see. Yeah, here she goes. This is Greta Garbo. Can't really tell you much about her. Very boyish looking. Damn. Very boyish looking. This one's kind of cool. Flapper look. Yeah, not a. I think the sister was pretty, and I just saying, I guess, going by pretty, I don't know. She's kind of a rough looking woman, guys. Ooh, this woman is ugly. Nothing cute about her. Wow, rough. What year did she live? 1905 to 19. Wow, she lived a good life. She wasn't cute. She's older here. Man, I hate to say it, y'all. That's a mighty strong jaw. Wow. Ooh. Wow. Hey. Ooh. What does my man say? Oh no. Oh no. What is this, guys? I don't know. I don't know about Greta. Greta looked like Greg. I guess it's a younger picture of her. Wasn't a cute woman, y'all. That woman is not cute. Damn. She's quite the opposite of cute, y'all. She was a creature. Hey, Nicole B. Derek. Oh, so yeah, that's who she is. That's who she is. That's what the garble, meaning popular. I think it just goes into who was the most popular actress at the given time is why they called her that. That's all. That is all. See if I can get away from Greta Garbo. She's a creature. Well, I'm gonna go spend the last half of my hour of my daughter being here with her. Sorry if you're just coming on. Yeah, I'm gonna spend my daughter's about to leave, so I'm gonna spend some time with her before she leaves. So I'll be on tomorrow night and night tonight, and maybe later tonight. I don't know. We'll see, but not more likely not. So this has been the Big Eagle Hour.